was one of the best introductions I've ever had. Thank you very much, and what a pleasure to be here, everybody. This is very exciting to be at for a naturalist to stand in front of a tech group, except I must admit I'm a bit intimidated. Last night I think I scored one of the lowest scores on your bloody pub quiz. You know, I'm a naturalist. I'm a guy out there. The most important item I own and use are my binoculars. I got my first pair at age 12. I travel with them everywhere I go. And in fact, if I can ever give you a hint, when you get into using your pair of binoculars, you adjust it to your own eyes so they become yours. If you're going out with your spouse, you must each have your own pair of binoculars. I've seen good marriages break up when they... But, you know, talk about, technology and so on. Years ago, I made a website called Going Wild, and it's goingwild.org. And I told my mother I was so excited about my website. So she went over and she typed in goingwild.com. You guys operate in a dark area sometimes. It scared the hell out of me. It took her months to get over that, believe me. And then I started hearing about this business of AI. I come from the biological world. I grew up at the zoo. Where we try to artificially inseminate all kinds of things. AI to me means something very different than it means to you. So really what I'm here to talk to you about today is about how technology and AI has been incorporated into the biological world to basically to save species. Make it all work. Here in our own Banff Park, wolves have been tracked since they started to come into the park, back into the park in the 1990s. Remember, we used to kill wolves here in Banff up until 1967 because they were considered to be the bad animals. And of course, it just goes to show how far our understanding in balanced ecological systems have come since then. But artificial intelligence is playing a big role in tracking these animals. And really, our understanding of how these animals move started to come into its own since 1984 with the use of satellites. Between 1984 and 1990, in Alaska alone, they had 100,000 tracking hits on wolves, muskox, caribou, and several other large mammals. The Antarctic is a difficult place to study because it's a long ways away, and just to get it in perspective, to get there you have to cross the Drake Passage. And so I'm going to just show this very short video just to give you an idea of the difficulty of doing research in the Antarctic. The Drake Passage is considered to be one of the most dangerous oceans in the world. Yes, impossible landing conditions. But here's one coming up. There it goes. See, the dart is designed to drop out of this flesh right away, and then it floats, and then we go over and pick up the dart, and then the dart is undone, and the flesh and the tip is put into a little sterilized plastic bag. GPS coordinates are taken, so they know exactly where they got that whale, and then sometimes the whales will come right back as if to say, "What did you just do?" And here it is coming over. I have my GoPro on a homemade GoPro stick, so I followed it into the water, and there it is, along with another whale right behind it. And then he's coming right over to check out what's going on. And so it obviously doesn't disturb them too much. But a way of totally non-invasive technological use now has been the use of drones. This has revolutionized the research process of how we look at whales. Now we can look at them straight down instead of obliquely from the side. And what a thrill it was to be there when they were looking down at whales. You can see there's a mom and a baby. They can actually do a health assessment of that baby, like doing a series of girth measurements and comparing it to mom. But it also allows you to see what pods of whales are doing. Before we could only guess. Now we look straight down on them in real time and figure out what they're doing. And then I saw for the first time ever, I watched whales eating krill. Coming swimming up sideways and taking in a small swimming pool of water in their mouth. They push that water out then with their tongue, which weighs about a ton. And I'll never forget looking down at us in the Zodiac with this whale swimming right around us. Some pretty exciting stuff. So it's amazing what's been happening. So there's a lot going on under that water when you see these beautiful white whales. And when we were sitting there, we started to tap our fingers on the surface of the water, and the whales actually came up and allowed us to touch them. Now, I'm not saying touching wild animals is a good thing. I think observing them is best, but I challenge any of you not to do this if you were in that kayak. I mean, to have that kind of interspecies communication is ridiculously exciting. That is incredible. And then as I was listening with my hydrophone, I could hear their teeth moving the hydrophone. And I thought, what's going on under there? So I turned on my phone and accidentally put it into slow motion mode. Look at that. He's bringing my hydrophone to the surface to show me, is this yours? And he did that 2 or 3 times as I was recording in slow motion with my phone. And then he let it go unharmed. And I pulled it up later on. Amazing stories of intelligence, amazing stories of interpretation of what's going on out in the wild, and hopefully using all this technology, we can save some of these species. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my presentation. Thank you very much.